Hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. Um, let's see. Do I want to do face cam today? Maybe. I might get bored of it. I might pop it on for a second. Hello, everyone. I guess if we're gonna do face cam today, this is just repeating itself. And then let's do a shuffle. Shuffle of the music. This is like the 10th time I've heard this song, so let's skip it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Welcome. If you are just joining us today, we are going to be continuing on our, we're going to be continuing on for the Stardew Valley build. And we are doing Pam's trailer. So we've got some references around the screen here. And you can watch all of the past streams online on my Twitch channel or on YouTube. And apologies in advance if you are watching the VOD, there's no music. So if I reference music, sorry, but I don't want to get DMCA'd, so it doesn't go on our VODs. So join us live. You can find all of my links in this link tree down here and follow my Instagram. That's where I post where I'm going to go live. And I'm experimenting with Twitter. Don't really like Twitter that much, I'll be honest. But today, to get into it, we are going to be starting doing stuff with Pam's trailer. Exciting. Since I have my stream cam on today, my face cam, let me go turn on the RGB lighting. You probably can't tell. I've got RGB lighting on my craft wall behind me, and the craft wall needs a little bit of work. But hello today. Okay, let's see. Just making sure it got me on camera. Okay, so since the last time we've been here, we've done a little bit of work on some miniatures. So I've got some water here. Let me put it somewhere it's not going to spill and I'm not going to drink out of. But I finished up our little beer cozies cooler that we'll be putting it on there. And then I 3D printed and designed a cute little chair to go with it. So this is quite amusing to me. I actually had a really good time designing this, and I actually put this exact file up on Thingiverse. So if you ever want a plastic yard chair, it's free on Thingiverse. You can just search for plastic lawn chair and it should come up. There wasn't any of that, but yeah, that's just for reference of size. I did scale it. This was my first print, and it's quite tiny. A lot tinier than it was, so this one's pretty cute. I don't know what I'll ever do with this one, but I thought it was pretty adorable. So we'll put that away. Other things that I have done since our last stream is I added a front porch light. So I wired this up from a little candle tea light. So we've got some lights to go on. So we need to still make the lantern case for the front door, but we need to get this on. I've also put on the window panes, and I put air dry clay on most of the sides of the build except for the front. I want to do the lantern, like the front door light first, and then we'll do air dry clay and we'll finish that up. I did do a little bit of sanding on this. I didn't want to get it completely smooth because I kind of wanted it to look a little dented. Maybe Alex like threw his football a little bit and dented it. I thought that might be cool. A cool little side story. Let's see, what else did I do? Oh yes, I designed and printed off a really tiny license plate for the back of the trailer. It says bus driver on it. I was going to go for drunk driver, but I thought that was a little bit too in poor taste. So I went with bus driver, and we just went with that. And then I think I painted this on stream, very last thing, but this is like a little tire. We'll need to highlight this a little bit to let everything pop out. And then I did a lot of measuring of all the windows and laser cut some window pane frames to go around all of our window panes to make sure that they're nice and crisp, and that will make a lot of difference. And I quickly printed off this one probably about 5 minutes before stream, realizing I didn't create that, so this one actually works quite well. So we'll be touching those up and finishing those today. But I'll need to get the air dry clay on before it. So our first step in today, this is driving me crazy. There's some dust on the camera. Hold on a second. There we go. My monitor gets a little dusty from being around a craft stream. Surprise, surprise. So, so the first step is making a lantern here, and to be honest, I have not thought about that at all. I need a little bit of curved plastic, I think. So thought processes on this. You're going to see it in live motion. Let's see here. I've got some curved plastic, clear plastic things that would probably work pretty well. I say save lids for a lot of projects. So this is like a takeout container lid from like our local Mexican joint. And so it's got some nice curved edges here. So I'm going to cut one of these out and see what I can do with this. I think this might be the way forward. And I need my cutting mat. So this silicone mat, it has fiberglass in it. You don't want to cut fiberglass when it's highly touchable and all that sort of stuff. I don't want to deal with that. So let's just need one of these here. I'm thinking if we just have one of these here, yeah, I think that'll work. So for any Americans watching the stream, happy 4th of July. I got together with my family and extended family this past weekend. So today I'm just chilling at home and trying to avoid work, thinking of work for tomorrow. So, yay. To be honest, I'm not too excited about 4th of July this year. Not really every year, but you know what? It is what it is at this point. Yeah, we'll not go into that. So I'm thinking if we embed this, I don't know if this is going to work, to be honest. You know what? We could do a couple of different things. So we can try that. And of course, I start today with the hardest part of the project of just coming up with something. So let's get some of this flat, clear, this clear stuff. And then we just need to barely bend it probably. Because the icon on it, like on our, it's very subtle, very simply designed. So I'm wondering if we kind of make it look like a lantern shape. Let's get some cardboard here. This is a cardboard that I laser cut the windows out of. So we don't need that much. Let me just... Excuse me. Just need a sliver of cardboard here. Alright, and then this will probably be a good shape. I just need a rounded bit. Just a semicircle. Well, let's do 2 semicircles here. You know, and after I build this, it could be something that I just don't like at all, and could invariably change everything again. Change over my layout here. So there's one bit. This is just how we're going to have to do this. I might need to change my knife blade again. It's kind of getting, it's not going through the cardboard like it should. I just changed it. I don't know what I cut it with that's causing it to be so dull. Okay, so we've got that. So if we just thinking if we just curve this down, and let me make a nice straight cut here. Ooh, we could bend it. That's interesting. If the curved bit doesn't work, we'll do a hinge on this plastic here. So just gotta make sure that I've got this nice and lined up. Try to make this as okay. So this lantern bit, it's pretty simple on the pixel art. And so we'll need to make it. And I'm wondering with this light, when we have it flicker, we could have this. I'm thinking scratching this bit up to like the windows on the inside, just so that it has some haziness to actually glow up against, because right now it just goes straight through. So I'm thinking we need to make it a little hazy. But we don't need it that tall. So how tall do we want it? I'm thinking we will make it, just eyeball it. I'm not an exact model maker. It just, it looks like it's good enough. Good enough is good for me. Maybe one day I'll do like real scale modeling, and I can't remember which one. I think it's this one. I'll do real scale modeling one of these days, but not this time. So get a little bit of sandpaper and scratch this up just a little bit, not a lot. Just enough to make it, one, easy to glue, because that's the other part of it, is that it's really hard to get glue to adhere properly when it's not scratched up. When it's that smooth surface, it just doesn't want to stick. So having just the tiniest about, see, now it's a little bit more hazy. So that's gotta be good. So the hard part is making this curved, keeping the curve, and gluing this on top of it. So let's see here. I think what we need is a rubber band or some string. I think I've got some thread right here. I've got some wax thread. We'll see if this works. Or what we could do is use this. This is a better idea. Look at that ingenuity. There we go. Using a cap to keep this curved. Alright, and then I'm going to use some super glue. The super glue is probably going to make this even hazier. I don't know how it'll react to the plastic. This is AK Fix Universal Fast Adhesive High Bonding Strength. This stuff is pretty potent. And I've got some fast adhesive adherent. my super glue? There it goes. So I get bonded with itself a little bit with the cap. Alright. So. Alright, now the question is, that's adhered. I'm going to put on a mask here while I spray this adhesive, this fast dry stuff, so hold on a second. This stuff gets pretty smelly, so I want to make sure that I'm protecting myself here. Yep, that worked pretty well. So I'm going to keep this mask on. I'll keep the mask on and then we can do the other side. And it did haze it up a little bit. I think that's going to be okay. I'm fine with that haziness. So all we got to do is kind of do the same exact thing on the other side. Okay. We're good here. I'm going to leave my mask on for a few more minutes to aerate the place. Because this stuff is probably pretty potent and stinky. And I don't want to smell it too bad. There's solution to pollution is dilution. So we gotta let it dilute. Right. Very good. Alright, so we've got... Let's see how this goes. Yeah, it's a little bit big, I'll be honest. It's a little bit bigger than what we probably want. But we could put like a little border around it and make it appear less big. And we could also inset it a little bit. It's not like we're wedded to this size. So I'm going to put some strips around it. And the way that I'm going to do that is use some excess windows that I carved out. And we're just going to cut this up. And we can just use normal Elmer's glue for this. We don't have to use super glue. And just add in a couple of frames just frame it just a little bit. And it should be nice and should be pretty nice. Okay. I'm going to take off my mask now. Very nice. We're right back. Right back to where we started. Okie dokie. We got some Elmer's glue going on. Let's glue up some of this stuff. So I want to at least glue up the frames. Yeah, we'll glue up the frame here. And then let's get my handy dandy silicone tipped. I really run the silicone tip. I used it with super glue, and I shouldn't have. I don't know if it's going to be permanently ruined or just temporarily as it works through it. I wasn't thinking whatever I used it to scrape super glue. So a lot of times what this build requires, these builds like this, is just a whole bunch of little assets like this. Um, and just attaching them. So it might be a little boring, but it's just nice to just be calm and not rush things. I think sometimes I get in the habit of wanting to make things exciting or super thrilling. You're not going to get that with every single part of the build. The most exciting parts are probably the flocking. I love putting static grass on things, and the paint job. But you're not always going to get that for every single stream. So apologies for the lull, but you know, it is all part of how things work around here. So let me add in a band at the top here, and then we'll put a band at the bottom, and then we'll let it dry. I always want to aspire to like riveting content, and what I find riveting and what other people find riveting might not be the same thing. So I'm going to hold that there, and I'm going to take a drink of Diet Pepsi. That just needs to be held for a few seconds longer. So one of the cool things that I picked up since the last time I painted is this little makeup brush cleaner. This is perfect for brushes. Any type of brush, paint brushes, makeup brushes, but it's really kind of been a game changer for cleaning my brushes. So I like this quite a bit. It was pretty cheap. I got this and I got a whole bunch of makeup brushes to do dry brushing and stuff, so pretty excited about that stuff. Alright, and the bottom band here. We just hold this down here for a second. Our light fixture is coming along quite nicely. Honestly, it's a lot better than I thought it was going to be, than I imagined. So, kudos to me. I'm going to pat myself on the back. It's a lot better than that hideous cardboard chair that I tried to make. So one of the things that I need to do for this build, for the front face at least, is I think what I really need to do is embed these by one layer down. I'm fine with this, and I need a door handle. That's the other thing that I need. I can come across a door handle later, but when we're looking at some of the other vents and stuff, I put air dry clay around it. So a little bit of me says, hey, we need to do air dry clay on the front too to make everything. We need to do air dry clay on the front. We'll do air dry clay on the front. We'll let it dry, and we can work on landscaping, or we can work on the window frames. That's what we'll do. We're gonna work on the window frames next, after the air dry clay. So we got our little lantern now, and that lantern, looks really good. Oh, I'm really happy with that. It might be a little bit thicker than I need, though, to be honest. I might embed this. I think I am. I'm going to embed this. So I'm glad that I did this now, because we're doing air dry clay next, and it's going to be a pain in the ass to do air dry clay if we try and embed this. So let me pull out the wiring, and we can attach the wiring to this. work with this. We can do this. Okay. Yeah, it's just a little bit, it's a tad big than what we need it. So we'll do a little bit of an embed. So let me mark out where the boundaries are. There we go. So that's the beauty about cardboard. Sorry, I'm just looking at, I don't know what I'm looking at. I'm looking at random stuff. And if this doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'm just gonna do like a, just a little bit. Just making the hole for the lantern. Gotta work with my hands here a little bit. Just pull some of this stuff out. So the things that's complicating it right now is that we've got some existing hot glue. That's one bad thing about hot glue. Blasphemy! Blasphemy! Bad things about hot glue. Doesn't exist. Okay. So this needs to be a tad bit wider here. It's difficult because there's a door. There's a double layer of cardboard. That's what's going on here. Double layer of cardboard and some air dry clay. So shit. There we go. We can redo this. We can make it better. We can rebuild. There we go. So right now it's pressure fitted in. pretty good. I think that feels a lot better. We can fill that gap with air dry clay. So let's glue this sucker in. It's a lot of Elmer's glue, I know. I know I'm adding a little bit too much, but I really want to shove that glue in there. Make that nice and firm. Get rid of this extra. Whoop. Okay, so that is in. I'm going to wait for this to fully dry before we install the light back in. So that will be a little bit of a task with that tight space, but not impossible. So we've got that. What we need to do now is I don't want to put heat to that to dry it faster because we've got plastic. And it's thin plastic, so we're not going to do that. But what we are going to do is we're going to do some air dry clay over on this side, get this smoothed out, and then hopefully by the time we get over here, it'll be ready to accept some air dry clay. So that way we have this entire trailer surrounded by air dry clay. And then the other aspect that we can work on while we wait for that to dry, if that doesn't dry in the time, is we can work on this coverage here, because I want to do this with corrugated cardboard or maybe some fabric to get some fabric texture. I think that might be the better bet, is the fabric texture, but we will see. So I am going to move my nice clean cutting mat away. We will work on our silicone mat. Let me get my air dry clay back out. Scroll back on screen. So this is DOS air dry clay. It's stuff that I get from Michael's. It's been really nice. I haven't used it too extensively except for this, the first real big part of the project that I've used this for. Some of the other stuff that I've used this for is creating positives, positive sculpts for Warbler to be heat pressed onto to take the shape of. I did that for my cat bus build. That one was fun. So it's a remote control cat bus, which I should, got batteries for. I should get that out and play with it some more. And that build, you can see that build on my crafting blog / coffee page. Or my Instagram if you go farther enough back. So if you're interested in that, it's there. Alright, so we've got some air dry clay. I want it to be just a little bit softer. So this stuff is water soluble. So you can make it a little bit runnier or really runny with water. And it kind of just creates a nice slip. If you ever worked with real clay, this has a, it's not like anything like clay. like real clay. This has a little bit of a texture to it. It's kind of like paper, but it's real nice. It's really easy to use. I like it a lot better. You can get it bigger in bulk. You don't have to bake it. And it's pretty substantial. It sands very well. Like the sanding aspect of it, I love. It's really nice. So this is a little bit nicer. I might need a little bit more of a spritz here. Just to have some play with it. I've never tried to rehydrate dry stuff, so this dry stuff on the sides. I don't know how that would take. So we'll see. So really what I don't want to do too much of a layer on this, just because I already put the windows in. I guess I could take the windows out and reinstall them. Which I might do. I don't know. I haven't gotten there yet. Okay. So one of the reasons why I'm using the air dry clay on this exterior part is to make it a little more substantial, a little heavier, a better feel to it. So it kind of, I don't know, it also so it doesn't have this cardboard texture on the outside, because we're going to just paint this directly. And having something that's cardboard, you can kind of see the indentations of the corrugation sometimes when you paint it. So doing it this way, I'm hoping will get rid of that. I don't think I've got nearly enough water, so I'm just going to bring over my paint. I think I grabbed way too much at the same time. Yes, that's a lot better. And I'm okay with these kind of rails that I had put on previously. I'm okay with those just going away. I'm gonna paint those in. I thought about that after I applied it, that it's just, I don't know. I think it'll be better if I just paint it over it. So it's all about being flexible with change, being okay with what you got, and learning to make do sometimes. So I started a new Stardew campaign. Um, campaign playthrough. And I have a whole bunch of mods. A whole bunch of mods. Like, lots of mods. Like, over 100 mods. Some of them are most of them are quality of life stuff. But some of them are the standard mod, like expanded Stardew. But there's been a lot of stuff added to the expanded Stardew since I played last year, or a year and a half ago. So this time we're doing a nice playthrough. I haven't decided who I want to try and date, marry. I don't know. That might just be a bachelor in this playthrough. It's nice. This looks very bumpy. We will sand this down. Just making sure that my windows aren't taken over. got way too much of the air dry clay out at the same time. It's okay. It's all alright. We'll survive. Riveting content, I know. Content. Okay. Need to be very careful around the lantern that we just installed. There's not a lot of cardboard here. I don't have to be as specific, as perfect around the windows because we have window frames to go over it, which is what we'll work on next. after I get this done, I just want to make sure that we get this on so that we have it dry so that we can do stuff with the trailer as far as painting wise today, which we might be able to get to if it dries. If it doesn't, that will be another stream, because painting is typically one of people's favorites aspects, besides the very initial stream and the very last stream. Those typically get the most views, likes, and all that sort of fun stuff. People sticking around for that sort of shit. Ain't nobody have time for this stuff. Okay. I think yeah, I'll put a little slip here. A little sliver here. It'll probably get covered up with the window frame, sorry. Just kind of just stopped halfway through my conversation. I do that a lot. If you're a regular here, you know that that's what I do. I just stop fucking listening. Talking. Stop talking. Okay. So, let me do an inspection. Make sure I didn't add too much around here. It's going to cause any issues. We'll do some smoothing, but otherwise I think we're good. We're going to let this dry. Alright, we'll let that dry. I need to wash my nasty hands because they got stuff all over them. So I'm going to take a short break. We'll be crafting right shortly after I wash my hands and clean up here. Okay there. Hello. Go back to my main screen. Alright, so we're going to wait for this to dry so then we can sand it, because you can kind of see what I was talking about earlier. Whenever you get cardboard wet, you can see that inherent corrugation on the interior coming through, so you can kind of see that here. So when I did that with the other sides, I sanded it down so it's not as apparent. So when we get done with this drying, we'll sand this down a little bit more so that we don't have that. And then we'll make sure to clean the windows just a little bit to make sure that those are nice and see-through. Now I am fine with this one being a little bit above the flat surface, but I really wanted to make sure that these looked like they were embedded. So that looks good. And this has got a nice weight to it. It's probably, I'd say, about a half-pound. Half-pound right now. So it's actually quite heavy for just one piece of it. So what we're going to do in the meantime is we're going to prepare the windows, window frames. So that's going to be a fun part of it. So let me get my nasty crafting board, my goopy board, and I'm going to turn off my face cam. Y'all don't need to see me. My back's starting to hurt in a little bit, so I want to lay back a little bit. Just lean back. So, no more exciting face cam. Sorry. I know y'all missing me already. Alright, so I've got some lovely frames to go about doing. And of course, whenever I cut these out, I didn't quite remember to organize them by size. So that's a wide one. That's a wide one. So these two are the front. These four are the back. 4.5. So what I need to do is I need to glue these together. Pretty sure. Glue these all flat. So that I don't know if I really need both. Sorry, I'm just sitting here pondering. What I need to do is probably take the corrugation out of the middle so that we don't have corrugation sides. That's the right thing to do. Okay, so we will do that. So let's start on the back pieces first. We'll start on this piece here first. And then we'll glue everything up and then we'll paint. Well, that sounds like a plan. Yeah, that's a lot better. So, what we're doing here is we're taking the middle corrugation out so that we have a nice thicker. I guess I should have cut this out in chipboard. That would have been a lot faster. But this is what we'll do. It's not that bad. A little tedious, but it's all good. Plus, I don't feel like firing up the Glowforge right now. It probably would only take half the time to do this, but that's okay. Most of the chipboard that I have is scavenged from, scavenged from beer and Diet Pepsi cases. And cereal boxes and all that sort of stuff. So I don't have any clean chipboard, and I've been trying to avoid putting materials in the Glowforge that I'm not sure of what the chemical processes have been in it. So like with CO2 lasers, you need to really avoid certain materials or it might damage the device and void the warranty if you have a warranty on it. So the first thing that comes to mind is PVC and chromium tanned leather. So both of those create toxic gases that can kill people. And so I've been trying to avoid putting any materials that I'm not 100% certain what is in it so that we avoid death fumes coming out of the laser. So, I mean, I think I'm trying to be a responsible adult here. Jeez, being a responsible adult is hard. But, so, if I did have clean chipboard, I probably would avoid doing this. But, I don't like to buy stuff that I can just scavenge. So this type of stuff is a lot better if I just, it makes me feel more environmentally conscious if I'm upgrading my trash. So all the cardboard that you see me use is upcycled from shipping boxes, inserts, all that sort of fun stuff. Okay, get some glue on you. That's a nice front. Okay, now we just need to do the backs, the front, the backs, the front of the trailer. Okay, so that is the... Okay, so we've got... Sorry, went quiet for a little bit. So we've got our window frames here for the front and back done. Still waiting for this to dry. And then now I've got this front window to do the frame for. This one should be relatively quick. I just kind of went in silent mode there for a second. Sorry about that. So yeah, so this project's going along quite well so far. I haven't had too much of a hiccup. I'm excited. Once we get this air dry clay dry, we'll be able to start painting it. And it's gonna be so good. So I've got a couple of different types of silver, and I want to make it rusty in places. So I need to mix up some rust color stuff. I don't have a rust right out of the bottle, which is fine, but we'll do some of that. And then the one thing that I don't need to paint is this cute little lawn chair. Thankfully I had 3D filament in white, so I didn't have to worry about that. So we'll glue this up here. We'll be able to start slapping on window frames. I actually might paint the window frames first so we can avoid accidentally painting our windows. think this is dry enough to be put on its face. Yeah, that should be good. Okay, so the other things that we need to do, so I've got some attachments to go on this. So when we start painting it, I do need to attach those first. I need to remember to do that. So I've got like a trailer hitch ball, and then I've got a license plate to go back here. And then I've been debating on or not to put like a wheel carrier back here, like kind of like the prongs, because the wheel is actually in the front yard. So I've got the wheel made up here, but I need to put that back. And then we can start painting. I'm really excited about this air conditioner unit to go on. So why don't we actually paint these first so I don't have to worry about that. So I've got a folk art metallic acrylic paint here. Almost run out of it. This one's not too silvery. I've got a, what color is this? It just says acrylic paint. It's kind of a matte gray. And then we've got the good stuff. This is from Miniature Painting. So this is Iron Wind Metals, and it's silver metallic. This is one of my favorite ones. And I've got a couple of other silvers, but they're not. I've actually got a copper or bronze here. I might use this to do stuff with. But all my other silver stuff is oil-based, and I don't want to do oil-based on this. So we'll crack open this silver metallic, and this is meant for miniatures, but it will work fine for what we need. Because guess what? This is a miniature. Miniature diorama. But we're just going to go in and start applying this paint. And this feels so much, if you've ever used one of those silver Sharpies, this feels like the silver Sharpie stuff. Which I actually think I have a silver Sharpie around here somewhere. But it's nice and iridescent. Like a silver should be. It's not like a gray. So this is what I hope to put on the whole trailer. Let me just get the sides here. And then we'll do a little bit of shading on this too. Just so I don't have to go with paint around these acrylic window frames, because that'll be honestly that'll be a bitch to clean if I get if I get those mixed up. So this will be good. These are just paint up real quick. We'll put a little drop shadow in on the center bar, and I know the pixel art shows like 2 cross beams on the window, but I really wanted to go for that bus window vibe that some of the cheaper trailers have, that you kind of have to push in both panes to move up and down. I just associate that with trailers more, so I kind of wanted to give it that feel. So not completely true to the pixel art, but that's okay. That's why we have stories. We add stories to all of our dioramas here. The hat mouse build was my favorite. That one I was able to really go in with some backstory and lore that's personal to my build. And it's just exciting to do. And I want to brand this trailer with Joja. We're gonna have a Joja trailer. So I'm gonna write. I thought about doing a 3D print, kind of like how we did our. Let me show it here. Kind of like we did the. I don't know if you can really see that. It's a license plate. It says bus driver on it. I was gonna do one for the Joja, but I think I'll just paint that on and just go with that and not worry about it. But I'm still trying to think of like what model this trailer is. You know, kind of how like trail winds or something that makes sense for the Stardew Valley world. I haven't quite come up with that, but I've got time. And if I don't have time, we'll just leave that off. That's okay too. I'm thinking like maybe, I don't know, something to do with starfruit. Or ferngill. Ferngill something. Oh. Alright, last window frame here. We can do a little bit of... And I'm doing what you're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to take paint straight out of the bucket, but we're not painting with any other color. This is the first paint that's coming on it. If I was applying this on top of another color, even if it was dry, I would have taken this out of the bucket and used like a cap. So there we go. That's all that we need to do silver right now. And then we're going to use some of this. Oh, I don't know if you can hear that. That sounds like this is just a big old lump. Yeah. That is seen better days. But let's clean the brush here real quick. Seen a little bit better days. I don't know when I bought this. Well, it's been a little bit, let's just say that. It's been about 10 years. The date on the bottle says 2012. So, yeah. So, okay, so I'm just gonna squeeze. Paint is not supposed to do that. Oh, this is gross. It's still usable. Um, yeah, we'll just mush that in a little bit. We won't need a lot. So we'll get that, and then I'm gonna get a little bit of this bronze, iron wind metals, bronze metallic. This is similar to the other one that we had, and I need a different brush, or I just need a little stick of something to just grab some paint and dab it in here. I don't need a paintbrush to do that. I'll give a little bit more metallic feel to that. It's a little bit darker, so we're going to mix this up on our silicone mat. That's nice. I'll wash this brush off, and then I'm going to pick up a dry brush. It's a miniature dry brush. This is actually a makeup brush, but it's excellent for dry brushing. So I'm just going to tap this and kind of tap it and kind of just dry brush. You can't see that at all, can you? Do a little bit of shading here. And we'll do a lot more whenever we get this on there. I just want to do the main bits so that I don't have to worry about getting acrylic paint on these window panes. Okay, you probably can't see that fairly well, but it's there. So this will go there. We don't need a lot. And so what I will probably do is do the paint first and then glue these on. So I don't have to worry about painting over top of these again. And I'm just going straight into that bronze. Get it? And so this one goes around that little frame there, goes around the window that has the air conditioner unit for Penny's room. And so, what I really love about these dioramas that I'm making is that I can add stuff to the lore to the back of these, because in the game we don't get to see the backs or the sides. So the saloon that I made, the very first one that I made, I loved just because I could add, you know, the Halloween decorations to it and do like a picture window for the side, and you can see Pam and Gus in there in the saloon, and it was just so much fun. I love making these. It's my goal to kind of go through and do all of them. I think that's a little ambitious because the longer it's taken me, the more uh, additions that are coming out, so I have to keep making more buildings. Like when I first started this, they didn't have the movie set. And Ginger Island definitely was out, so now I have to add those buildings to my list. So it's been good though. I've really kind of enjoyed this, kind of flexing my thought process on how I want to do these and adding all of my creation hobbies together. And I think now with the laser cutter that I got, this is going to get even better. Because these would have looked like shit. I'll be honest. They would have looked terrible if I didn't have a laser. Um, and being able to cut and measure and cut those out is really good. So this is still a little bit damp, so I can't sand it down yet, but I think this is secure enough here that we can go ahead and put in our light, install the light so that it's solidified and we can close this up. So we've got this trigger switch here, and I've just taken the light off of this tea light candle. And so what I need to do is just pop this in here and stick it in. Make sure it's secure. I've got electrical tape on the inside, and that should be able to hold it pretty well. I think that'll be good. So we got a nice little lamp that's going really nicely there. I played around with the idea of putting lights on the inside besides this one. I think that would just be too much. So, so we've got that, and then I've got where is it at? There it is. I've got a plug for the bottom of this. So this just pops in here. I need to actually make a new one because that's too big. So we'll make a new one. I'll move this up a little bit. So there we go. So we'll just go ahead and just trace this because this is a good size. It's just that center cut. I think I made this whenever I had the tea light cover on before I really did anything. So we'll go ahead and trim this up. Doesn't have to be exact. There we go. And then what we'll do is do a trace of this. So the other thing that I really like about these diorama builds, besides, learning to do really good measurements and just playing around and creating lore, is learning how to wire stuff. It's my technical skills on wiring. It leaves a little bit to be desired. So I'm just going to go in here and not cut exactly to the, just a little bit on the inside of that line. Being careful of where my knife is, so I don't want to cause any, don't want to have any happy accidents whenever it comes to, there's no happy accidents when it comes to sharp objects. Do not need to trip to the ER on 4th of July. That would not be good. Alright, there we go. So, now we will make sure that this fits. Yup. And we will go ahead and press fit this around the cardboard. Maybe. There we go. So now, all I have to do is flip it over, make sure it's secure on this side, because the one thing that I need to make sure about with this build is that it's accessible to the battery and the switch, so that if I ever need to change the battery on this, that I can pick this up, change it out real quick, and go on. Because my want is to eventually have all of these displayed, and I'm trying to get them seasonally around fall in game so that they kind of look Halloweenish. So I want a Halloween build. So what I need to do to fix this is I'm going to use hot glue, because hot glue is my favorite. And I will probably need to get a new hot glue battery. So let me just grab that. There we go. Let me go put this one on the charge. Having trouble. There we go, putting it on the charge. Alright, so we got hot glue heating up. We'll put this on because hot glue is the best. In my opinion, I just love hot glue. If you stick around long enough, you'll get tired of me saying hot glue, because I use it in every single thing that I do. Okay, so let's see, what else can we do in the meantime while we wait for this to dry? We can start attaching the other things. So I can attach the bus driver license plate, and let's see here, we've got a little ball hitch that we can attach to the back here. We've got a faucet for the hose and an electrical outlet for the back. So we can start doing those. And that's what I need. I need a door handle. You can't have a front door without a door handle. So, let's see here. What do we got in my Greebles bin? I don't know if I have anything small enough. That will... I might have to make that. I might have to make it. I don't know if I have anything that will be small enough. Oh, I know what. So, with the laser cutter, whenever I cut stuff, I get a lot of offcuts. And so let me look at my offcuts section. So this is all the middle bits that I get. And I bet there's something in here that looks like a door handle. Welcome, look at my trash. Thank you for looking at my trash today. We've got a square piece here. This might be a little bit too big. Let's get rid of all the big stuff. So we did gears at one point. Surely I've done something circular. Oh, here it's probably a perfect size door handle, and it's made out of balsa. Balsa wood, so we can cut that in half and make it whatever height we got. So that solves that dilemma. So we'll do that. Clear away all my trash, because I'm a trash panda. This stuff is really good to make greeble type of stuff. So greeble stuff, I don't know, it's interesting textures that you can paint over. I made a spaceship. Made a spaceship out of just random trash and painted it up. I've actually got it on the table here, but it looks like my hot glue is hot. It's dribbling. Okay, trash panda is done. Okay, my hot glue is hot enough. Oh, okay. So we will go ahead and glue this in. I don't think it's quite hot enough. It was dribbling, but it's not as hot as it seemed. So my light came out, so I need to make sure I fix that better. So I was talking about the spaceship that I made. Here's my spaceship. So this is just a bunch of trash, literal trash. Like we've got an old cap for super glue. We got a soap dispenser bottle. We got a drywall anchor. We've got several of those protective socket covers, soap bottle inserts, pen caps, a bottle cap here. There's an Advil bottle. There's a pizza tray, you know, like the little pizza tables that go in the middle of the pizza box so that you don't get the top of the pizza on the top of the board container. So yeah, so this is one of the fun things that I was doing, just to get rid of some of the stuff. So it's just a lot of interesting texture. So that's some of the stuff that reasons. That's the main reason why I collect that. All of my offcuts, just so that I can do random stuff like that. So that's been fun. And excuses to hoard stuff. Okay, so there's that. And then let's see here. Make sure that we have everything here before I go about. Let me make sure I can attach this better. Let me actually just attach this with hot glue. So let me go in on the inside here and squeeze a little bit of hot glue and place it. That will make sure that it's nice and secure. So let me just go ahead and do that. Let me get my... I think that's a good placement. Let me turn this on. That's a good placement. So let me just hold that there while the hot glue cools down. Silicone tool tips for the win. It's one of the best investments, tool purchases that I've made. Okay, so we'll let that cool down. Get that really smushed in there. Okay, and then we are just going to I think what I want to do, we can pressure fit that in pretty good. I think what I want to do is just do a tape here so that it's removable. If I ever do need to reposition anything, I can just take this plug out and fix it. So let me get my, what type of tape do we want to use? I'm thinking electrical tape would be good because it's nice and sticky. It's a lot stickier than my painter's tape. And it's nice black color, so I can paint this bottom black because I'm not going to affix this trailer onto the landscape. I'm going to have this be able to move because it's a trailer. Trailers should be able to move, and it's got wheels. So we'll just tape this sucker down, and I won't need to get to that battery for a while. I'm hoping, at least. We'll be testing whether or not the dollar store tea lights have quality batteries in it or not. But I won't have these turned on for an extended period of time, so it should be fine. So we'll just do a double, just make sure that switch is still accessible. That should be good enough. There we go. All right. So we've got that. And so we've got, our light is working. That's very nice. I'm enjoying that. Okay, so this front is still very wet, or not very wet, just not dry enough to sand down. Still got a little bit left to go. So what we can do is I need to work on this. So this is the back of the trailer, and where Pam sits on the inside is kind of bumped out. So I kind of envisioned this is kind of like a DIY type of handyman special window unit or window seat put in. And it's this up here is either going to be corrugated cardboard or canvas for texture when we paint it. I'm thinking I'm going to do like a canvas color texture because it'll actually be easier to put on. So what I need to do is get some fabric on this. And what I will be using for fabric is a tea towel, and this is a messy tea towel. This is what I use to paint. So I've got a whole bunch of paint on it. This is a ruined tea towel anyways, but it's got a nice texture to it and very kind of firm, tightly weaved, I mean. So I'm going to be covering this bit with this. So that's just a little bit of a texture difference, but not anything too crazy. But I think I need to exchange my blade here because this is not cutting through cardboard, so it's not going to cut through fabric. So let me just go ahead and exchange this out. And since I did this so recently, last time, I still have my blades here. So I'll just go ahead and grab a new one. Being careful about it. Then I've got my dowels here. So this is one of my favorite tools as well. It's just a back-loaded, back-tensioned X-Acto knife. It's not X-Acto brand, it's Excel brand. But all the other blades, their handles that I used, had a front tightener on it, and it would just loosen up as I used it. And I was constantly trying to tighten it. And so having this back loosened tool, I can just do that and then play around with it and cut without having to worry about this getting loose or pulling out. So that's a lovely tool. The only thing that I wish it had is that you can't, this lid doesn't snap to the back of the tool. That's the one flaw in it that I've seen so far. So with this, I'm just going to cut off a piece. It just needs to be a little bit wider than 2 stripes. Oh, it's like butter. Okay, so I'll drop that down, and then we will cut off this border. And then we're going to glue this down enough so that it's not going to fray. So with enough Mod Podge, this will stick. So I'm not going to worry about it fraying on me. So what we'll do is we'll just glue this on first and then trim it up after it's dried. So we'll just get our Elmer's glue out here. And it seems like I've got a clog in the glue. Can we push through? That's a negative. That's a big old clog. Oh. Just gonna use our hands here. I am a messy crafter. I don't care about getting my hands dirty. My hands will always be dirty. So how you doing over there? Josh has come out of his cave. His Minecraft cave.
It's all caves. Caves all the way down.
It's caves all the way down. So.
The loss of just laughter's in my heart.
Okay, so we've got this nicely stuck on there. I'm trying not to push down too hard on this because the front of it is still wet, so I don't want any excess textures going on it like I'm doing right now, which is okay. This will be sanded down. Let me make sure I'm loving this light. You see?
Oh, yeah,
my little light lantern. Yeah, showing off my lantern.
And it burns the trailer down.
It burns the trailer down. No. It's not a candle. It's just a. It's a faulty lantern. It's faulty wiring. Burst into flames. So, but no, it's going so well. Really pleased with how it's going so far.
Quick chuffed.
Oh, truffed. Okay, so now got all the stuff, and then I moved all of the stuff. Where did it go? I knew this was going to be a problem. I did knock it off. So I knocked off all the little tiny, all the tiny stuff.
All the better.
And I've lost a lot of it. This is what happens when you're messy. Well, shoot. Well, at least we got the doorknob, right? So we got the doorknob and we have the... Oh, there it is. Never mind. False alarm. We're good. Didn't lose anything. Whew. Alright, so the doorknob. This is just balsa wood, so we can cut this in half because it doesn't need to be that pronounced. I think this is balsa wood. Yep. So then we have a door. We've got another little thing if we need it. Let's just go ahead and attach this. There we go. I don't know if that's going to stick. I might actually do that with super glue. I think super glue is probably going to be a stronger fit. So let me just wipe off that Elmer's glue. Let's do super glue here. Since we have it, we're going to do all the glue types. Just trying to make sure I don't get this on my fingers like I always do. There. Right there is good. Alright, and then we're going to do the same type of thing for this ball and hitch for the trailer. Trying to just eyeball the center here. Okay, and that, I believe we'll need, let me just use some of this quick bonding spray, just a spritz of it. I'm just gonna roll a little bit farther away because the stuff is smelly. Just do a couple of that and just kind of waft away the air here. Just want to dilute that smell. Okay, so that's a nice quick fix on that. And then let's do, we've got a couple of things to attach here. Let me put the lid back on before it dries out too much. We got some electrical plug sockets and a faucet, a water hose attachment here. And for the water attachment, I'm going to do the same type of quick spray here. Got some Elmer's glue all over my hands. It's not a surprise. Okay. There we go. There's that. And then we'll need to put on our bus driver. License plate here. So I'm thinking right here feels good. So I am going to put the glue on the build. And then attach this. All right, there we go. So you can't really see that too well. All right, so let me see. It seems a bit firm here, so let's just go in and I think we're ready to just go cut here. This could be a big disaster, but we can fix it. We can fix it in post. It'll be okay. I'm not too worried. I'm not going to stress out about something I want to have fun with. And you know what? If it is a little ratty, I think it's fine. It's all according to the plan. I am the creator of the back half of this trailer, so this is my little world. It's kind of Bob Rossian feeling here. Bob Ross was always a big influence for me. I loved watching him growing up on PBS. I didn't have cable growing up. I didn't have access to a lot of the mainstream stuff, so while my peers were watching Disney Channel and, you know, all the fun types of things, I wouldn't say stuck with, but I watched a lot of PBS. I was a PBS kid for sure. No, that's okay. So, aspiring to have Bob Ross level chill, I think that's pretty aspirational. Alright, so that's going to be a nice texture for it. I did cut it a little bit short here. A little too short. So let me just go ahead and just snag some. It doesn't have to be continuous. We're going to paint over it. So we'll just, that seems like it's going to be a fit. Just put some more Elmer's glue here. And given that our front is still not dry, I should have done that off stream to be honest, so that it would be ready for this. What we'll plan to do is just start Mod Podging the rest of the, so we'll leave the front to dry and we'll Mod Podge everything else to prep it for paint. So in order to do that, I need to get some stuff together. Alright, so let me make sure my super glue is closed. And let's see here. So super glue's closed. So let's see here. Let's get all of our stuff together. Got most of everything now. So this is our base. We're going to have some water on the side. So this is our trailer. So we're going to have that. We'll have, I think I'm going to put, even though in the game the tires in the front of the trailer, I think I'm going to put it in the back. And then we've got our lawn chair. And then I've changed out the table with wine with a cooler with beers. This is a really cute little model. I'm really happy about that. So we're going to do that there and have the lid just propped off to the side of it. So with that, I think as far as the back goes, we'll leave this mostly just grass. We'll have a couple bushes. So I think there's a bush back here and another to the side here that we'll have. And this is a little bit closer to the river than in the game, but that's okay. Scale model. So I still need to pick up some resin for the water. So I think that's what I want to do. But we can Mod Podge the base too. And we'll need to do some texturing of this. So with that being said, I know I just said, oh, we'll Mod Podge this and wait for this to dry and then sand it and Mod Podge. Let's just go ahead and work on this grass area because I don't want it to be just flat. I need this to be a little bit more textured so that it's all good. So what I've done with other models is kind of make this look like a cutaway, kind of like Minecraftian, where you can kind of see rocks on the side. So we're going to do the same sort of thing. I'm not going to do as drastic, but basically it's just cutting with this, just cutting away at stuff, making sure that it's just not perfect. Straight lines. And just tearing away at some if needed. And then we're saving these bits so that we can paste it on again. So we're using up all of this. And we'll be tearing a little bit more into bits and pieces, but just kind of making it not perfect. Okay. And then for this bit, I think what I want to do is I just want to beat the crap out of it. Do I want to beat the crap out of it? So now we're just going to do some lines. Just making sure I don't hit myself with this very sharp blade that I just changed. You'll see why I'm doing this in a second. Okay, so we got that, and then now I need my pliers. So creating those cuts in the side makes this a lot easier to do. You just kind of just rub it around, and it will create little stone textures. And then, you know, even use the plier aspect of it and pull some of the stuff out. Just making a mess. So half the fun part of the build is making the actual build itself, the building, the item, the landscape. Well, I guess if you're doing a landscape diorama, then yes, the fun part will be the diorama. But I also derive a lot of pleasure out of just doing landscapes for like bases for the build. So yes, while I enjoy doing the trailer, this is also the fun part. It's all fun. Otherwise, why am I doing it? I try to explain to people what my hobbies are. And so for like work, they're like, what do you like to do for fun? And I was like, how do I describe making dioramas of video game two-dimensional art into three-dimensional dioramas? What I came up with is pop culture diorama making, which didn't quite answer a lot of their questions, but it was kind of easier than just saying, I make video game artwork. Okay. So after we get done with I'm always thinking of the next build. What is the next build? After we get done with the trailer, what am I going to do next? That's a good question. So what do I want to do next? I was debating on doing the trailer or doing like one of the other villagers' houses. This is actually the first house that I've done, quote unquote, NPC houses. I've done community places and structures. I have not done any of the NPCs, like relationship NPC heart building stuff. So I've done the community center, I've done the Hat Mouse build, I've done the saloon. So those, and actually, no, I take that back. I lie. I did Linus's tent. That is a house too. Linus has a house. Linus has a tent. So I lied. I did Linus's place. So I got all of my window frames mixed up in this. I kind of want to do Pierre's and Harvey's. Just do a 2-1. The other one that I'm thinking about doing is Elliot's shack. So I kind of want to do something small, maybe? I don't know. I think Elliot's shack would be really cool because I could do sand. So I've not done sand yet. I've done rocks for Linus's area, and I've done dirt for everything else. And I think Elliot's might be winning me over, but we'll see. So now I'm just going in and making very shallow cuts here on the top, and just kind of trying to make this just not flat. I want to make this just as uneven ground, It doesn't have to be perfect. We'll be gluing some of this stuff back on. Speaking of gluing back on, I need to turn on my hot glue gun so it's ready. So we're not just sitting here waiting for hot glue to just heat up. And I'm glad the sunlight is starting to come in through the windows a little bit. It's getting a little bit later, so the sunlight's hitting, and hopefully that'll help speed up this trailer drying for the air dry clay. The last thing that we need is for me to paint in some moisture. So that'll probably make the paint job bubble, and that will not be good. I don't have to do too much for this middle bit because that's where the trailer is going to be sitting. And I really have to thank my brother for getting me into this whole diorama building. He does really fantastic D&D models, builds. Back before the pandemic, he still DMs, but he doesn't do it in person anymore. But he used to build really cool sets for his games for D&D, and he was showing me them, and they're just so cool. I hadn't heard, like, I'd seen people do it, but I'd not seen this material. So this is, I believe it's XPS foam. It's a building material for houses, like actual in real life houses, not what I'm using it for. Let's just say. And I was just kind of really inspired by what he was doing. He's made some really cool stuff. He's mostly doing miniature painting now, and every now and then he'll do a scratch build of something. But he really kind of showed me like how cool things you can do, and he introduced me to a couple of YouTubers. Black Magic Crafts does a lot of stuff like this that he's gone through and watched. So he's really kind of inspired me to do it. He hasn't done anything like this, but I think it was Studson Studio on YouTube did the Wizard Tower, and I was thinking, you know what, I could try my hand at it, and so that's what I did for the saloon. So that was my first build, and I hadn't used XPS foam for it. I used normal foam, like styrofoam, plastic styrofoam, styrene, and it did not take to paint very well, and it was a pain in the ass to paint. But once you Mod Podge this stuff, it gets a lot better. So I know it kind of looks like I'm really kind of digging into this, which I am, but we're going to add stuff back, so don't get too worried about it. So we've got some divots here. We'll make them less divotty. So we'll get this hot glue, and we're just going to start putting hot glue back on. And hot glue will melt this stuff. So I'm just going to go in and put stuff back, and we're trying to get the bigger pieces here. And this is my own interpretation of how to do stuff like this. Just kind of taking away, then adding back in, and then taking away and adding back in. Keep doing that until you're happy with what you got. And all of this will be covered up with paint and flocking. So this will be good. So, trying to get here. Just kind of making, I'm looking for textures here. Nice textures. So, there we go. Nice textures. Alright. Now before we start putting more paint on, not paint, foam on, I need more flat pieces because all this stuff is a little bit too tiny. So let me get my big bag of offcuts. Never throw anything away, right? Let's see here. Those are nice. Nice thin pieces. I think what I will do though is grab a bigger offcut and just shave some of these. Oh, this one feels like it's got a little bit of heat on it. It's a bit harder to cut. Let's see here. This is melting a little bit. That's okay. Once this is all solid, we'll go back in and cut it down again. I know it seems a bit excessive, but this is the process that works for me. This piece is not working very well. I think it's a little hard for you guys to see with the sunlight coming in. I don't really have a solution for that. Sorry. Let's see here. Let me see if I can change a little bit of the camera so it's a little bit less blown out here. Cam properties. See if I can lower the brightness. Does that help? No. White balance, maybe. Change the white balance here a little bit. Nope, that's not what that is. Backlight compensation. That made it worse. Okay. Sorry. We'll just try and make do. This is flat anyways. Okay, so this area is dry. I think I like the texture of the side here, so I'm going to leave that. So let's just go back in and whittle this down just a little bit. could probably get my hot wire out and do this a lot easier. That might actually be a better plan. But we're going to be filling this in with dirt, textures, dirt flocking, and grass and stuff. So I'm not too worried about it. This front area needs a lot of work though. I don't know what went wrong with that piece. Probably went a little bit too heavy-handed on this. I got excitable. It's all good. The goal is to not have any straight lines, so we've got some straight lines here. Okay, I think that's good. So now let's Mod Podge this. Let me get my Mod Podge. I will be right back. All right, so we got Mod Podge. I'm going to Mod Podge it with black. So we got black acrylic, we got Mod Podge. I'm going to add a little bit of water. And one of the things that I learned from a streamer or a video YouTube creator, that's the word, is to add a little bit of grit to it so you kind of have goop. So I am actually I'm going to be taking, so I just wanted to share this before I get rid of them into this project. I'm adding 2 gifts that I got for Christmas from my nephews. So they are 4 years old and they made me these beautiful sand art. And I love sand art, but they're just not doing anything. So what I'm going to be doing is adding the sand from the sand art into my Mod Podge so that when I look at this diorama, I remember the kind gift that they made me. And they chose these for me. And so, yes, while I am destroying what they gave me, I'm using what they gave me as well. So, just kind of putting that out there, saying beautiful pieces of artwork that my nephews gave me that are doing nothing functional, that I wanted to do something with them. So let's go ahead and just pop these out. And I'll be keeping the containers for future projects. That's going to make some really nice stuff. So we've got that. Mod Podge is a little old here. Ugh. Let me just beat the lid a little bit. See if that, yeah. That gets it good. So we're going to add in some Mod Podge here. Let me get rid of this big old dry chunk. And then we're going to add in some black. Okay. And then a little bit of water. Probably will need a little bit more water, but that's where we're going. Okay, so I've got a brush that is disposable. This is nice and gritty. I actually don't think I needed water in it at all. I might need a little bit more black paint though. Alright, so we got this nice lovely concoction. I will have extra of this, so I'm going to try and find a container so I can save the goop. So the sand will create a nice texture. I know I use the word texture so much, but the sand will make a nice texture for the paint to just kind of settle into. And when we go to paint this the actual color of the ground, it will pop nicely. At least that's the hope. So I don't have to do too much here. It's kind of like a nice grout. And if there's any loose bits of foam here that I didn't quite tack down, this will definitely tack it down. So this is going to have to take a long time to dry. I would probably give this 2 days to dry fully, because I'm just making sure that it is completely sopped in, because I want to make sure this is nicely sealed. Probably should have done the sides first. That's okay. I'm gonna have some running. I am actually going to just let this dry on this palette, this cutting board that I use, a self-heal mat that I use for my goopy projects, so I don't get my nice one all messed up. So, there's something nostalgic in the way that Mod Podge smells. I don't know, it smells like my childhood. didn't really use Mod Podge growing up. It smells like elementary school or something. Haven't quite figured that bit out yet. I'm so excited with this. This is going to be good. This is going to be good. I'm going to keep patting myself on the back here. Because if I'm not, who is going to? Gotta be your own cheerleader sometimes. And the only reason why I'm doing this is because I derive pleasure out of making stuff. And I figured someone else might enjoy watching me do that stuff. Who knows? But it's been a pleasurable time making this. Just going in here and making sure that we get all the nooks and crannies here. I think I've made just enough of this. Just making sure I get that base too. I'm not going to do the underside of this because it's not needed. Alright, so we got a lot of sand in the bottom of this. So I'm going to try and fill up these bits here now that we don't have to pick this up again. Just kind of spread it in here. I'm going to do the same back here. This is going to level out quite a bit, sink down into the grooves as it dries. The glue will not expand, so this will be fine. So this is just a perfect amount, and we will save that other little sands sculpture for a future build. So they'll help me out with 2 of those. I just want to make sure that I get plenty down. Okay, so that's quite a mess. I think with how the let me check. It's surface dry, but I can feel the moisture inside of it still. And I need to make sure where I'm touching is not going to be. Yeah, there's still a lot of moisture in here, so I'm not going to sand this down. I think what I will have to do is we'll finish this up on a future stream. So we've been going for almost 3 hours now. So I think I'm going to call it for today. Thank you for joining me. If you like what you see or you want to see more, please feel free to follow on Twitch. If you want to know when I'm going to go live next, I typically go live on the weekends. You can follow me on Fuzzy Bee Bum on Instagram, and that's where I typically post on when I'm going to go live. So, thank you for joining me today. This has been wonderful to just hang out and chill and relax on this 4th of July holiday with all y'all. I hope you have a wonderful week, and we'll be back next weekend to finish up Pam's trailer. All right. Thanks for joining.